Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Of course, make sure you do check out the Discord channel, completely free to join, linked in the description below. You can find updates there, chat with other traders, chat with myself. I share some of my ideas there, so do other people. If you want to ask any other questions, of course, you can find me on the Discord there as well. So if you are interested to join the community, go check it out, and it's also at the top of the chat as well. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Do have some interesting news events coming up pretty soon. Do have the Fed in the evening. I think in terms of the USD pairs, that will probably help provide some clarity and probably some momentum as well, which is, I think, is much needed. But we'll go for the USD side of things first. Take a look at the dollar, USD majors, gold and silver. Of course, any requests, any pairs you're looking to trade or you want my opinion on, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll take a look. Of course, let me know any timeframes as well you want me to take a look at specifically. Most of the time, I'm going to be on the 4 hour, daily, maybe hourly chart as well. But if you want me to drop lower, let me know. But first things first, we'll take a look at the DXY, which did see some upside yesterday. Again, I've talked about how bearish USD has been. I do think the market is due a bit of a pullback. I do think we are in need of some upside. So I'm not really looking to sell the dollar. I know the market is still bearish, but I do think we can, again, not necessarily reversal. I'm not trying to call it a reversal here with the DXY, but the fact that we've taken out some major lows, the market's pretty stretched. We've been falling since the start of the year. I do think we can have a bigger pullback for the DXY. And an indication for that, or a signal for that, would be price taking out some prior highs. You can see on the 4 hour chart how consistent we've been with these lower highs. If the market is going to push to the upside, then I do want to see price go and break some structure. And then we can be looking for the higher lows after that for a trade. That way we're kind of taking a less riskier position because we've already got that first indication that, okay, we've got the break of structure. And now potentially price can reverse. But we'll see what happens this afternoon. If USD is strong this afternoon or evening, then yeah, maybe we do go and break through the highs. And then for the rest of the week, we can be looking at some pullbacks for some longs. If USD does remain bearish and we just drop and sweep the lows, well, we're back to square one. Market's still bearish. Let's see how far we can fall. But I am waiting for some buys. I'm not really interested in selling the market. I did speak about some shorts yesterday, but it's not looking like that level is holding as resistance as it was doing at the start of or the end of last week. Really nice rejection there. You can see price smash into the level again yesterday afternoon, but it didn't hold as resistance. And price did break above, and it looks like it's actually retesting as support. So that could be another indication of some USD strength maybe this afternoon. But of course, the Fed will have the final say. But yeah, USD, again, like I said, not really looking to short the market because it's been overextended. We're taking up major lows, especially as a swing trader. Not the best place to position myself short for any meaningful move. So I'm waiting to see if we can break structure, and if we do, then I would expect to see some pullbacks, or hopefully we get some pullbacks, and then we can look to trade that higher. Again, nothing crazy. If we can get it back to the swing high here, I think that would be a fantastic position, fantastic trade. Market might want to sell off after that. Again, I'm not saying I'm expecting a reversal for the dollar. I just do think we're due a bit of a pullback, especially with how corrective we've been on the way down. It's not like we've been steamrolling to the downside, seeing a very healthy trend. For the most part, we've been very, very corrective. So that's another reason why I do think we can push up. And why I'm not really looking to continue to follow those that bearish structure there. So that's kind of my take on the dollar. Euro USD, pretty much the exact same, but flipped. Again, you can see the corrective nature on the way up. So again, that gives me the impression that Euro USD is running out a bit of steam. Perhaps a bigger pullbacks on the cards. We've of course just taken out some major highs to our left, which again, once price does that, I'm looking naturally for pullbacks afterwards anyway. We've already seen the first signs of that. Euro is still holding on to structure here, so it's just still about respecting this resistance and support. I did say this could be a nice place for a buy for Euro. Judging price action, I probably would wait for a bit of a double bottom here to see if we can push back into lows and then look for a buy. Yeah, we've had a slight reaction, but it's kind of very, very tame. Not a lot of momentum there, so it's not really showing much buying pressure coming into the market there. Perhaps if we get there again, we could see a stronger reaction, especially if it's after the news later today. But for now, EURUSD is still respecting support. It's not quite lining up well with the DXY because the DXY is kind of broken through this corresponding area. So it would be nice if Euro was testing support, which it is, and the dollar was testing resistance, which it kind of isn't. Again, not to say that we can't break back underneath. We can definitely do that, but it would be nice if DXY was just in this level, holding as resistance, and Euro was holding as support. That would be a nice kind of synchronicity between the two. But for now, if you're just going to exclusively focus on Euro, again, I'll be looking for that second entry for a stronger rejection before looking to jump into any buys. As I said, for the sells for Euro, I want to see these lows be taken out. You can see how consistent we've been with the higher lows there. If we are going to, and possibly this could be another one, if price is going to reverse, then I do want to see some lows being taken out, and that will give me the green light to be looking to short and take some lower highs for a trade. So again, waiting for the sells for Euro, not quite there yet. At the moment, still in bullish territory, and we're still following this bullish structure. So I think intraday there could be some nice trades on perhaps a double bottom. As long as we can respect that area, there could be a nice rally back into resistance, and you can probably call it a day back at the highs there. So keep an eye on that if you are looking at some intraday opportunities there for Euro. Pound USD, we had a bit of a sell-off yesterday. I mean, all the USD pairs had a bit of a sell-off, but pound was a little bit more aggressive. I think the weakness in pound helped that out as well, but of course with DXY rising, the USD pairs did fall. So pound USD did take a bit of a hit. We have kind of broken through this counter trend line here. It's not anything too significant. The key break would be this area here, which prior resistance and support and price is still respecting. So it's not a significant break where I'd say, okay, we're bearish now. Yes, it's a break of a trend line, but that doesn't really define the trend. Really, it's the swing lows, the major swing lows, and the key levels, which I would say is around 1.342. So if that can break, as I said at the start of the week, if we do go and break through this, then yeah, that would be a big indication for me for selling opportunity, a pullback, and perhaps even a retest of that same area as resistance could be a great place for a short. And it's a pretty significant level because if we do zoom out, look at the daily chart, drag this level across, you can see it lines up pretty well with the previous major high on the daily chart. So if you do break back below that level, this then becomes a bit of a fake out. And yeah, I would be looking for a bit of a sell there for pound USD. So there is room to the downside for pound, just seeing if we do get that or not. Maybe price respects support here, and maybe we just, push to the upside. I'm not so keen on the buys, mainly because we're kind of lacking momentum. We're looking very flat. So I'm more fixated on the sells. And if we do go and break through, great. I think there's room to the downside to take advantage of for pound USD. Dollar CAD as well. Nice reaction yesterday. Really nice shift to the upside. So that's the first kind of signal that says, okay, buyers are stepping into the market. I've talked about this big area on the daily chart as an area where buyers could be looking to step into the market. You've got a bit of a area of demand there. Price broke to the upside with a lot of momentum. We haven't come back to retest that zone until now. I do think naturally we can see a bit of an up move. I'm not necessarily saying we're going to reverse here. It might just be a pullback, and the lower high forms like we did over here. We might see that again, and we might roll over. That could be the case, but that initial push to the upside, I think, is worth looking to trade if we can get a good opportunity. But yeah, now that we've seen that first kind of indication of strength coming in for dollar CAD, if we can come back and revisit the lows, that will be fantastic, and we can probably base a trade off that low there. Again, a bit more of an aggressive position. We're still kind of going against the grain. The grain is definitely down, but we're seeing areas where price can potentially reverse. We're seeing momentum come in, strong momentum as well. It's not like price kind of just slowly pushed to the upside. It was a very aggressive move. So that tells us that bigger buyers are entering the market at this area, and I would expect to see a reaction to the upside. And again, not looking for anything too crazy. A push back to this area could be a nice target. This area, or maybe even this kind of area of supply here. Nothing too crazy. I think a push into any of those areas looks pretty reasonable, and the risk reward will look pretty good as well. So yeah, keeping a close eye on dollar CAD. Looks like the buyers are stepping into the market. We've been very corrective on the way down, so I haven't really been looking to sell. Now that we've approached this area, looking to see if we can get some bullish opportunities. Aussie dollar, still not a big fan of this one. Still kind of waiting to short it, but not quite at the upper end of the channel just yet. If I whip out the channel tool, you can see kind of more or less how we've been trading. So you've got the highs, you've got the lows, and price has been fluctuating between the two. I'm still looking to see if price can run back to highs, and then I can look for shorts, because in the middle here is where there's a lot of noise, and there'll be a lot of stop losses just kind of nestling above the highs here, and I don't really want to have my stop loss there. So if price can push to the upper end of the channel, respect it, and if I can get my stop loss up here, that will be a much safer place, because I'm away from the noise. You can see the dotted line here. This represents the middle of the channel, which is where the most fluctuation, the most indecision will be. So typically don't really want to be entering trades near that middle line. You want to be as close to the upper or the lower line of the channel as possible. So yeah, preferably another up move would be nice there for Aussie dollar, pushing to the upper end and then a short. I'm not so keen on the buys either, because that's the corrective nature of the market. I'm expecting us to eventually break to the downside, so I'd rather be selling in the hopes to potentially capitalize on that breakout. But yeah, same plan as yesterday, same plan as the day before with Aussie dollar and last week. Just waiting to see if we can get that push to the up end of the channel and hopefully get some nice entries off the back of that. Ends the USD, this one, same kind of characteristic as Aussie dollar. Moving this in this upwards channel, very corrective. Again, I'm not so keen to short this one as much as Aussie dollar. As I've said previously, we got this kind of level running through the market, which is going to provide some support and could potentially push price back up against me. So in terms of how clean the price action is, I would say Aussie dollar looks a little bit better, and I think the risk reward looks a bit better on that one as well. But it's the same characteristic. I do expect us to eventually break to the downside. How we go and do that, I'm not too sure. Maybe you have one more rally and then we break, or maybe we break straight away. But yeah, the way the price is moving is very, very corrective, not very sustainable price action. When price is moving like this, I'm always getting ready for a break lower. A relatively safe idea could be waiting for price to have that breakout whenever it happens, and looking for some pullbacks, maybe even a retest of that area for some entries. That way you kind of miss out all the noise of the channel, and you wait for momentum to come into the market and then look for some pullbacks afterwards. That could be a smart idea. Sometimes you don't always get the pullbacks, but if we do, that could be a nice place or nice idea for an entry. In terms of gold, so gold, keeping a close eye. I did say I'm pretty bullish on gold, and I still am. Still looking for a push back to 3,500. So the idea hasn't changed with gold. I did say I'm looking for the retest of the high, which looks like price is kind of still just about doing. The price action isn't clear or as clean as it could be. But for the most part, I am looking for break, retest, continuation. That was the plan this week, and we're still just about getting that. So I think a nice entry signal would be if you can just have a strong close above all of this mess, something like that. And that would be a nice entry, because that tells me that, okay, all of this sideways nonsense is all put to bed. We've seen a strong close clear it. Not only are we still respecting support, but we're seeing momentum come into the market outside of this range. And the chances of us continuing back to the highs would be looking pretty good at that point. Definitely at least a push back to that high there. So yeah, I like the buys for gold. We broke out that descending channel a couple of weeks ago now. Had the retest as well, and we haven't really looked back since. So now I'm just looking to see if I can find that entry, take advantage of the next higher low. Perhaps we've printed it in already, and then take the buy. I did say yesterday there are some areas down here which I will consider as well. Lines up pretty well with this trend line. So I wouldn't mind taking some buys off this area here too, but for now we'll just focus on this area. If this does break to the downside, then we'll talk a bit more about this opportunity. But yeah, if I can see a strong close to the upside, even on the 4-hour chart, I'll take an entry. Something like this, stops below the low, targets back into the high, but I'll trail stops and just see how far we can go from there. And silver as well, still very bullish on this pair. It's actually one of the more bullish markets in general right now. Very, very nice price action. Looks like it's clearing out this consolidation and another break to the upside. I would want price to push a little bit further before I do look for pullbacks. I also will consider this range here as an area for a pullback as well. So if you can push a bit further, just really confirm that momentum is well and truly here, and this is not kind of a fake break of the high. I don't want to see price shoot straight back within that, because then that is more of a fake out rather than a breakout. So if you can push a little bit further, that would be nice, and then come back to retest that zone. I think that would be a fantastic place for a buy. And yeah, still looking at push 240. That's my next kind of long-term big target for silver. I was speaking about the retest of this area here, which is where we had the breakout from a couple of weeks ago. But it just doesn't look like price is going to have a retest of that zone. That would be my preferred area for a buy. But judging momentum and how things are looking, I'm not too sure we have a pullback to actually come back to retest that zone. So I'm going to have to adapt, and this would be my next best area. I still like it a lot, so I would definitely consider that, but I just want to see the breakout kind of continue a little bit further, and then yeah, retest and some buys. So gold and silver still very bullish for now, looking good. USD seeing some strength. Will it continue? I think just wait for the news this afternoon or evening, and that will kind of probably clarify things as well. I do think we can see more USD strength, so that's kind of the direction I'm leaning towards, but there's no buying opportunities just yet for myself, so got to stay patient there. Anyway, good morning guys, welcome to the stream, hope you're all well. William, good morning, welcome. D-Mart, what is up? Good morning. Raphael, Euro pound short, okay, we'll take a look at, no problem. Yep, 30-minute time frame, we'll take a look. Dan, gold, pound, euro, okay, we'll have a look. Antonio, good morning. Yep, I still got my eyes on CHF pairs for tomorrow, yeah. Should be a big day for Swiss and pound as well. We've got pound interest rate shortly afterwards. Okay, nice. Long on USD CAD. Okay, ready out the position. Okay, nice. Monthly demand confirmed. Yeah, I'm looking at that kind of that same area as well. Don't know if you caught the analysis there for dollar CAD, but come back into a very big area for dollar CAD. I think we can see a more upside as well. So I'm just hanging around to see if I can find some entries on some pullbacks. But yeah, very, very nice area on the higher time frames. Expecting at least a bit of a bounce there for USD CAD and the other USD pairs as well. But yeah, we'll take a look at Euro Pound for Raphael. What's up, Lauda? Good morning. Hope you're well. Okay, we'll go through the M pairs as well. Okay, shorting Euro Pound. Would like to swing it. Okay, interesting. Lorraine, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Loyanda, hope I'm saying that correctly. Good morning. Hope you're well. So yeah, we'll take a look at Euro Pound. Couple of people looking to trade this one. Lauda currently short, and Raphael short on the 30-minute time frame. Or are you looking to get short on the 30-minute time frame? Anyway, in terms of Euro Pound, so not my favorite pair. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be bearish. I would favor buys more, but not at current price. I would want price to push back into an area like this. So if I was looking to trade that bullish bias, I would want price to pull back, retest the zone like that for a buy. Because in terms of the market structure, we formed a double bottom down here, broke through the kind of neckline of the pattern, so to speak. We've got some bullish structure at play here, as well, still respecting areas of demand. So I'm still seeing structure kind of print to the upside. I'm seeing lows not being taken out. I'm seeing highs being taken out. I'm seeing higher lows being respected, areas of demand being respected. I'm still seeing momentum to the upside. So that would make me bullish on the pair. Of course, not at current price. I wouldn't be wanting to buy up there. This is kind of the area which I want to see price pull back into. So in terms of the confidences and what the market is doing, I would have a bullish bias on the pair down around 0.844. Of course, there might be a nice short to take advantage of on the way down towards that area. I wouldn't necessarily be looking to sell just because I don't have many reasons to, apart from the fact that the market's quite overextended. Maybe we're coming to some areas of supply on the left there, but that's about it in terms of reasons why I would want to sell it. In terms of the market structure, I've got a lot more going for me to the upside rather than to the downside. But of course, the buys are not really in the picture until we at least come back to these areas, which could take a few days. But yeah, I mean, in terms of how stretched we are, I would favor a pullback anyway as well. I wouldn't really be looking to short it, but yeah, I would favor a push to the downside. On the 30-minute chart, I mean, I'm not really seeing a very strong entry signal, to be fair. I mean, I can see we're failing at the highs, but we could always spike a little bit higher before coming down. So I'm not really seeing a kind of clear-cut entry signal for myself. I mean, yeah, I'm still expecting that pullback, but I need a bit more than that before I'm going to base a trade. I mean, I'm looking to the left. I can't really see any significant levels as well. I was talking about this area here last week, but we're trading above it at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, the level there were kind of above it as well. So I'm not really seeing much there for sells for euro pound. Like I said, I would expect a pullback, but it's nothing I would look to trade myself. Yeah, not to say that it won't work out. It's just, you know, from my view, I'm not really seeing much to get me into the trade there. But yeah, I would expect a pullback. I'm not really seeing a significant area to short it from, so it's not like I would say watch out for this level. If price could start to kind of form some equal highs or maybe some lower highs, that could add a bit more confidence to the position. But at the moment, momentum's still up, so I would be careful with shorting the pair. I do expect a pullback, but we could always go a little bit higher before we do drop, so watch out for that. Okay, so I'll take a look at, I just went through gold recently, so I'll go through euro and pound, and then we'll go through some CHF pairs as well. So Euro USD, as I mentioned, price is still just about respecting support, so naturally would still just be bullish from an intraday point of view. You can see the higher lows, you can see the overall uptrend at play, so the market is still pretty bullish. But I wouldn't be looking to buy this one from a swing perspective. Intraday, yes. Swing, no. You know, if you're looking to try and swing the market, you want to be away from resistance, away from major highs, in areas where a major higher low is likely to form. You're back in areas where the market might be oversold a little bit. This is not really where we are right now. So as a swing trader, you're not really looking to buy here. As a day trader, you might be able to catch a decent, you know, pop to the upside, especially if you can run back into lows. There might be a nice bounce there. You got some prior resistance turned support now. You could catch a nice reaction, you know, back into areas like this, or maybe back into a highlight there. So that could be a nice trade for a day or two. But from a swing perspective, I wouldn't want to be holding trades for a few days at this area because there's a chance for a bigger pullback. And the bigger pullback is what I want to be trying to catch. So, yeah, from a lower time frame perspective, buys look good there. Like I said, I'll wait for that kind of double bottom. It's in a nice area. Could be looking for a higher low here. We did see a nice push to the upside there with some momentum. So I think the buys do look good intraday. But again, I'll keep it short and sweet back to areas like these and then look to try and scale out of positions or trail stops, however you want to manage it. But I would be cautious as we do approach those areas. Pound USD, not so enthusiastic about the buys. I know we're coming to a pretty big level of support right now. If I flick to the daily time frame, you can see very significant resistance over there, resistance over there again, support there again. So it's been a very critical level for pound, and in fairness, we are respecting it as support right now. But I'm not really interested in buying the market just for the reason I just explained with euro, the market's quite overbought. We haven't really had much of a pullback. We're at highs as well. The market's losing momentum clearly. So from a swing perspective, I want the market to have a bigger breather before I look to buy it. And in the meantime, there might be some nice sells. If we do crack through this level, I would be interested in some shorts to take it back down again. So this opportunity here does interest me, especially considering it being a very significant level as well. So pound USD, if you are looking to try and buy the pair, this level is a very interesting level to keep an eye on, especially for a bit of a double bottom there as well. We've had an initial reaction, but it's very, very kind of dry, lacking momentum. So we might push back down again and then see a stronger reaction. And that could be a nice entry signal. Again, maybe back into some of these areas where you can probably call it a day or at least lock in some gains there. So still a nice place for a buy, but I'll keep it short and sweet with pounds, short and sweet with euro as well. I think the bigger move is going to be that pullback. So I am interested in those shorts. But no green light for the shorts just yet until we do break through that level. So yeah, hopefully that made sense. We'll go through some of the CHF pairs next. Good morning, Dark Sean. Hope you're well. How things looking? A little bit dry at the moment. USD pairs looking interesting, but I won't be taking any positions until after the Fed interest rate regarding USD. That is. Other markets fair game, but USD, I am looking for some dollar strength. We've seen some signs of that coming into the market. I'm looking for a little bit more before I do position myself in any USD pairs, but I'm keeping a close eye. Just football, what's up? How many trades are you taking a month? I would say between like 6 to 12 is probably like an average. Maybe closer to the 12 mark. Dollar CAD, yes, we'll take a look. Trev, no problem. Do you mean why is gold not moving? I mean, there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors of what dictates the price for gold. Of course, naturally, the conflict should increase the price of gold. And to be honest, gold is up. You know, it's not like gold is not bullish as a whole. Of course, in terms of like right now, I get your point because we're not really like pushing up right now. But as a whole, gold is on the up. So, you know, people are already flooding money into gold. Of course, you expect the conflict to kind of increase that and more money be put into gold. And I think naturally gold is going to push up. We might kind of push down. There's going to be natural fluctuations. It's not just going to be a straight line to the upside. So I do think a move to the upside is the likely and the bigger move for gold. But we could push down first and then push up. We could react to the Fed interest rate and push down. There's going to be other factors driving price of gold. But I would agree. I would expect a more bullish gold, to be honest, right now. But it's not really what we're getting. Again, price action is king at the end of the day. If things are looking bearish, doesn't really matter what's going on around the world. The price is going to dictate what price is going to do. You could still use, kind of your understanding of what happens with gold to your advantage, but wait for price to give you that signal, and then you can look to take your positions. But at the moment, yeah, it is. It's not looking as bullish as you would expect it to be. I'm still definitely looking to buy. But maybe we're waiting for a bit more of a catalyst. Maybe Fed interest rates might help. We'll see. But yeah, CHF pairs, again, I'm keeping a close eye on them. We had that kind of weird crash on the CHF pairs last week, which did trail me out my Aussie long position, unfortunately. I was long over here, but then we had that big sell. I think that was after CPI, actually. And yeah, I mean, it looks like price is still hanging on to support. So I'm liking the looks of things here for Aussie CHF. I think if this can continue to develop, maybe push into the highs or even break highs, I can then be looking to long the pair because we've had a pretty kind of substantial bearish move now with Aussie CHF. Still probably my favored CHF pair to trade. Still looking for a push back into this high and more importantly back into this kind of range area back at 0.5493. So I do think we can still see that drive. But yeah, I've got to stay patient for some entries. Yeah, unfortunately, this move took me by surprise, but I still do think CHF pairs are likely to push up. I'm still quite bullish as you, Antonio. So Aussie CHF, Euro CHF, CAD CHF, New Zealand CHF are probably my favorite CHF pairs to look to trade. I think dollar CHF could be interesting, especially if USD does become strong as well. You probably have a strong currency against a weak currency there, so that could be a pretty big move. But yeah, I think Aussie CHF is the one I prefer the most. I'm going to keep an eye on this one. I can push back to the high, perhaps some pullbacks afterwards. Hopefully you can get some opportunities to find some entries or even a retest of that level again. That would be nice. But yeah, I still do have that bullish bias. We're still coming from all-time lows. So I do think there's still a lot more upside to be had. We'll take a look at dollar CAD. A few people asking about that one. Lauder. Okay, pound stronger than EU. Okay, remain hence the trade. Okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah. I mean, of course, from a fundamental reason, that of course adds confidence to why euro pound could push down as well. So yeah, I mean, from that perspective, that would make sense. From a technical perspective, it's not looking as good as I want it to be myself. Again, I'm more of a technical trader. But of course, having that kind of confidence, expecting, okay, I expect now pound to be weaker than euro, euro to be weaker than pound, so therefore you're going to short it. That makes sense, of course. But yeah, I mean, technically, I like the setup to be better, but if the fundamentals do align and that does initiate, bearishness on euro, strength on pound, then you should have yourself a nice position. But yeah, in terms of dollar CAD, so yeah, USD CAD, very strong reaction there to the upside. I do think there's a lot more upside to be had with dollar CAD, especially with the zone we're coming from. You can see we've been falling for quite a while, and now the market's quite stretched to the downside. And you can see this massive area of demand to our left here. We've had a big reaction from that zone, and now price has again tapped into that area and seen another strong reaction. You can see with the size and the kind of aggressive nature of those candles that, we just had 2 or 3 candles here engulf about 20. So there's a big kind of change in momentum, which shows that aggressive buyers are stepping into the market. And now's the time that we want to be looking to try and get long, because we've seen that first indication, and now some pullbacks would make sense, either push back into lows or maybe a higher low at some stage. But yeah, I won't be finding any entries until after the news this evening anyway, because even if price does get back here, it's not going to do that before the news today. So I'm going to have to wait to see what the Fed has in store for us later today. But I am definitely looking for buys in this area. This is definitely a bullish area for me for dollar CAD. Okay, so where were we? I'll go through pound yen and euro yen. I forgot to take a look at those earlier. We'll take a look at pound and euro yen. DMAR take on euro CAD and pound CAD, higher time frame. Okay, we'll have a look. See. Trev. I don't understand. If you want me to take a look at different pair, then drop a different pair in the comment section then. I mean, there's only so many pairs you're going to look at, so I can make up a new pair. So yeah, I don't understand what you're talking about. But yeah, we'll go through pound yen and euro yen. So the yen pairs had a bit of a sell-off. That was coming to the towards end of yesterday. Pound yen pushed back into the high, just respected resistance. So we're kind of back at square one really with pound yen, because we've been trapped between resistance and this ascending trend line for quite a while. And I've just basically said I'm waiting for price to clear the highs or clear the lows until I start to develop an actual bias or start to look for actual positions to trade pound yen, because whilst we're in this kind of wedge pattern, I'm not really interested with the price action. If we can break the highs, fantastic. I can look for some break and retest to go long. I've spoken about my targets to the upside just below 200. looking at a push back into the swing high up there. And if you do break to the downside, well, I'm looking for a swing back to the low here. So I can see price going both ways. Pretty decent risk reward both ways, of course. A swing to the downside, it will be a much bigger swing. If we are going to kind of continue this bearish structure here, then that could be a very interesting move to try and get involved with. But yeah, until we kind of break out that that kind of wedge pattern, I'm not really interested with price action inside the range there. So we had an attempt to break to the upside yesterday. That didn't really amount to much. Again, when I'm looking for breakouts, I'm not looking just for one candle. I want to see price kind of give me 2 or 3 candles above the level with some momentum as well, to really kind of illustrate to me that the buyers are the real deal here. This is likely a breakout and not a fake out. And then yeah, retests and pullbacks will make sense. If we just close above the level, then we are kind of a little bit more exposed to fake outs, just like what happened here. So now as we approach the low of the channel, we might potentially bounce here again. Again, there might be some short-term buys there in the low time frames. I'm not so interested with that. As I said, I'm just kind of waiting for something like this to set up, and then for some entries to go lower. But how it does set up, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, as of right now, just staying patient. Euro yen's interesting though. I am definitely bearish in Euro yen. We've been trading at major highs. And I do still think there's a big sell to be had for Euro yen. I'm not looking for a push back to, what is this, 176? Yeah, I'm not looking for a swing back up there anymore. I do think price is likely to drop lower based on how we've moved, how aggressive this impulsive move is. This has just been very flat price action for a while. Now we're back at the extremes of the range. If price is going to sell, it's likely going to be from here, and it could be a very big move indeed. So I'm keeping a close eye with Euro yen. I know technically we've broken above, but going back to the point I just made about the fake outs and not just waiting for one candle closure and waiting for price to really rip through, we haven't really had that. Yes, we did close above with this candle, but it's only just a slight break. You see that all the time with price action. Your price will form a high, just about break through the high slightly, and then have to sell. Nothing's changed here. So if we are going to push down here for Euro yen, I'm looking for some momentum to pick up, probably some break of structure, and then trying to find some lower highs, maybe even on the retest of the zone. That would be nice. So yeah, I do have a bearish bias for Euro yen. I'm being patient for that. I want to see that first kind of initiative made from Euro yen before I do start to look to sell the market, because of course I could be wrong. Maybe price is going to drive higher. But if we do see a strong push down, some pullbacks, I do expect us to have a pretty big fall. So again, I'm not too bothered if I don't find an entry up here. There will be entries along the way, or at least hopefully there will be. But yeah, Euro yen, I've got a bit more clarity with that one. I like the sells. I'm kind of waiting to see if we can get a nice swing position on that one. Okay, so I'll go through EuroCAD and PoundCAD for DMAR. I don't think I've missed out a pair. Yeah, I'll go for EuroCAD and PoundCAD next. Follow the trend. What is up? Hope you're well. Hoping project gold as I stay bullish, but wait for deeper check. Okay, yeah, I'll run through gold quickly. Okay, yeah, I'll go through gold. But let me take a look at EuroCAD and PoundCAD. So yeah, EuroCAD still relatively flat. Haven't really done much. We did have that breakout last week, but didn't really turn into much. We broke through the highs, but then came straight back down afterwards. I did say yesterday some buys could look good in the retest of this range, because as you can see, we've had a really big break to the upside. Price has now come back to retest that same zone which gave us that momentum. We had a nice double bottom. Price just about swept through the low. It was a nice rejection kind of towards the end of the day, wasn't it? Yeah, that was more or less just before the daily candle closed. Maybe not the optimal time to be finding entries, but very strong rejection. Now, I wouldn't necessarily be getting too confident about a big swing here. I did say yesterday that I wouldn't try and take the trade past the high here just because of how flat we've been. I mean, it looks like resistance here on the left has rejected price very well there, so that's being a very stubborn area to break. We've also got resistance on our left here as well I would watch out for. So entries here look good, and if you didn't get an entry there, I would again wait for price to push back into the low. That still is acting like a strong area of support demand. If you were to get there again, see some more rejection, I still think that would be a smart place for an entry. And similar targets back into resistance here or back into the high there, I think that would make sense to book profits and maybe even call it a day. But there is a slight overall uptrend for EuroCAD, so naturally you would have a bullish bias. I do think we are going to form a top soon and go through a pretty big sell at some point, but until we start to break structure, we'll leave that to one side for now. There's no evidence of us selling off just yet, and for the most part we are still pretty consistent with all of these higher lows, and perhaps we're forming another one just there. So with these continuous higher lows, it does kind of make me bullish for now here for EuroCAD. If we are going to sell off, I need to see those lows break. But yeah, at the moment, still respecting higher lows, still respecting an area of demand, so naturally still a bullish bias for that one. You did mention high time frames, didn't you? But yeah, as for the high time frames, I wouldn't say there's much to do. I would just say we're kind of flat here with EuroCAD. And the fact that we are approaching major areas of resistance here doesn't really make me want to buy on the higher time frames like a daily chart. So if I was looking at the higher time frames, I'll probably wait to see if we can break to the downside and then try and find some opportunities for a short. Of course, this could take 3, 4, 5 months to form, but that's really what I'd be looking at for a sell. You can probably try and look for some aggressive sell opportunities at the high, so looking for another push back into resistance, then try and catch a short from there. Again, a bit more aggressive, trying to go against the trend of the market, but you're in a healthy place, risk reward will look good. It might be worth a stab if you do see some healthy rejection. Pound CAD in the higher time frames as well, another pair which I do think can see a lot more downside. It's been trending to the upside for quite a while. We've taken out major highs to our left, so I think the market is quite stretched. I do think we are in need of a bigger pullback. But again, how do we trade that? Especially from a higher time frame point of view, you would want to be back at resistance again. So you would want to see another drive to the high before looking to short. I'm not really entering at support there. That's not the best place for a sell. And yeah, possibly a push back into support here. That would be a nice target. Of course, I'll probably have that as a target as well. But since we have had so many wicks and so much rejection here, I think this is still a relatively smart place for a short with a stop loss above as well. But yeah, I would be bullish here. I would be bearish, sorry, for pound CAD based on the rejection we've seen. If you're looking for a buy for pound CAD, then I would want to see a big clear out of this level. And then yeah, the next pullback could be something to follow. But the market looks quite tired. We're lacking momentum in this last bullish move, which gives me a bit more confidence to short the pair. So I'll keep an eye on that for pound CAD and EuroCAD. Okay, so we'll go through gold for follow the trend. We'll take a look at oil as well for Dan. Good morning, open-minded coding. Welcome to the stream. Hope everything is well with you. Any markets you're looking at? Okay, let me take a look at that gold opportunity you just mentioned. So you asked where should you be looking to buy? You're bullish in gold, but you're waiting for a deeper retracement. Okay, remain bullish due to fundamentals, where we can consider the next big support 33.50. Yeah, I'm looking at this kind of area here. Not the cleanest area of demand you'll ever see, but this is kind of what kept us bullish. We've got a nice trend line running through the market there as well, which kind of does line around 33.40. So 33.40, 33.50, more or less that area I think is a healthy place for a buy. It kind of lines up with price support there as well. We had these wicks. Yeah, I would expect price to probably drive into that area again and then potentially rally. So yeah, 33.40, 33.50 I would say is a sufficient place to be looking for a buy, especially if you can see some healthy rejection in that area. I'm still keeping a close eye on this zone here. Prior resistance, taking that across, looking for it to be acting as support. I do, I can see that we're not really doing a good job at that right now, kind of breaking below it slightly. So it's a bit awkward, but I'm kind of waiting to see if we can get a strong close to the upside. And that would be a nice entry signal for myself because, yes, we're looking a little bit ugly and we're a bit flat right now, but a strong candle like that will kind of signify, okay, buyers stepping in, potentially prices breaking out of this range, and also respecting that prior resistance, that prior swing high, and hopefully using it as support. And that would be a nice entry signal, especially on the 4-hour chart, taking it back to this high and hopefully back to the all-time highs at 3,500. So for now, my area of focus is kind of the current price action, the current price where we are. Just want to see a strong kind of shift outside of that. If not, if we do fall, then I'm looking more so at this trend line and that kind of zone lining up together. Maybe a higher low forms there, just like we did over here. A second one, maybe we form a third one in a similar area. And from there we swing back to highs and maybe back to the all-time highs at 3,500. So yeah, I would agree that kind of 3340, 3350 does look like a nice area. I'm also keeping a close eye on the current price as well because I wouldn't mind buying from there too. But deeper pullbacks is always nicer because not only is your risk reward better, you're buying at a better price. Yeah, it's always better to try and wait for the deeper pullbacks in general. So yeah, I would keep an eye on that as well. But yeah, I'm bullish as well. I do think we're likely to run back to highs. Okay, we'll go through oil. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, too much news today. That is definitely a good point. Might sit this one out. Do you have any trades open? Yeah, I do have a position on pound NZD. I'll go through that in a second. But yeah, I mean, especially with the news like today, taking the day off is not a bad idea. You know, the natural kind of inkling as a trader is that you want to trade, you always want to find a position. Some days there is no trade, and some days it's best to kind of stay away, especially if you're a bit more intraday as well. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with trading than just being out of your trades before the news comes. You know, that's a possibility as well. But then again, sometimes there's no point in that because the market might be a bit stale, it might be a bit flat because it's waiting for the news anyway. So you might not get the moves that you normally would catch in like a New York session because everyone's waiting for the Fed in the evening or the afternoon or wherever you are in the world. Yeah, I think that is a smart move, and especially coming into the market tomorrow, there might be some nice opportunities off the back of it, of the news as well. So yeah, that could be a smart decision there. But yeah, I do have a pound NZD long, which we'll take a look at in a second. I'll just go through oil first. So yeah, with oil, we have looked pretty bullish as of late. Of course, a massive rally there. Things are looking a little bit volatile, but the key takeaway for me with oil is that prices are back above 66, and that's a very significant price because it has held us for about 2 or 3 years, I think. If I really take this across in this kind of area since 2021, so has held us bullish, and only recently price did break below it, so which was a significant break. But it didn't really last too long and price shot straight back above that. Of course, there are external factors playing into that as well, but price is price at the end of the day. And yeah, a very confident move back above. So if we can revisit that and use it as support again, I think as a swing trader, that looks like a very, very nice place to go long. And I think risk reward could look very, very good. Perhaps a push all the way back to 80 into that swing high up there. So that's kind of my longer term bias with oil. As of kind of a bit more intraday, I can see we're back at resistance, kind of slowing down a little bit. Again, I'm not really looking to sell the market. It's not really at any area that does convince me for the sell. We had some buys early on this week from this area of demand. Didn't quite come back into the level I just mentioned, but we did respect this area, which of course we had that massive spike to the upside from. Price tapped back into that area, excuse me, another reaction from that same zone. But we are looking a little bit tired, so I think price could actually have another sell-off. I wouldn't necessarily be looking to try and short it, but I think we can see a move down, and that could potentially provide some nice buys in the next coming days. So I would definitely keep a close eye on that. I think there's still a big move to be had with oil, despite the one we've already had. But I would want to be buying around 66, 65. That's kind of my area of interest. But for the most part, very, very bullish on the pair. So yeah, I do have a trade in pound NZD, which I just entered this morning. Looking to see if I can catch a bit of a reaction. I am actually longer term bearish on this pair. I'm looking to see if I can catch a slight push to the upside. I say a slight push. It's not really slight. It's about 400 pips, so nothing slight about it. But I am expecting a pretty big move down. But I'm looking to see if I can short it from those highs. And in the meantime, price has ended up back at a very healthy area of support. We've been quite oversold. I like how corrective price has been. We had that first initial pop off the level, which was pretty aggressive. And now price has come back to retest it again and just about swept the lows as well. So this morning, after that strong bullish engulfing candle, I found an entry there. And I'm looking to see if I can at least swing it back into the highs here. But I'll be trying and hold positions to run to 2.27. But if I can get a push here, lock in most of my gains, I'll be happy. Still looking at least a 1 to 2.5 roughly, so that would be decent for myself. But if I can hold some extra positions to run back to the high there, that would be brilliant. But yeah, pound ends the nice reaction off that low, coming off some support previously. Looking to see if we can catch a reaction to that level. Then if we can get up there, then I can be looking for some shorts again and hopefully take advantage of somewhat of a head and shoulder pattern and hopefully a bigger sell there. But for now, the market is still kind of in this overall uptrend. We've sort of come into a bit of a trend line here. If I connect the higher swing lows, which price is kind of respecting here. We did dip below a couple of times, but for the most part, we're still beyond that area. So if I can see price react with that, I think there's a good chance for a bit of a buy. And if price is going to break below that, well, then we'll bearish again. But yeah, pound NZD is a position I'm in. No other setup has kind of, I mean, I was looking at Aussie CAD a lot at the start of the week as well. But I just didn't get the entry signals that I was after. I was even looking at the 8-hour chart as well. I was looking to buy this one, but I didn't quite set up how I wanted it to. So I'm looking to see if we can come back down before we do take off. But we'll see. We'll see if I do get the entry there. Follow the trend, no problem, happy to help. Sometimes, I mean, for the most part, yeah, consolidation does normally mean a bigger move is coming because, you know, it's just kind of the balance of orders. And then when that shifts, you expect a big push in either direction. So yeah, you can say the consolidation, you would expect to see a bigger move coming. But it's not always kind of linear in terms of we're just going to consolidate and price is just going to break to the upside or to the downside. Sometimes we will consolidate and price will kind of fake lower to go higher. So that could happen as well. And in reference to the gold setup, that actually might be a really nice opportunity because if we do dip lower first, that might kind of give us the test of this area before the buy. But yeah, consolidations typically do give you nice momentum shortly afterwards. You can see here, consolidation there, price did push down, then eventually ripped to the upside. So that's kind of the pattern I was just mentioning. But you know, typically after consolidation, especially longer period of time, if we consolidate for a longer period of time, typically the bigger the breakout as well. So yeah, you could say that, but you know, we'll see if we do get that move. But if we can get a strong close above all of this mess, I will look to enter off the back of that. Okay, so where was I? Temel, dollar seat chef, we'll take a look at, no problem. Asim, good morning, welcome to the stream, hope you're well. I have not looked at Euro Aussie yet, I will go take a look. Okay, bullish on the pair, but you're finding it hard to enter. Okay, I'll have a look at Euro Aussie. And again, sometimes you might be bullish on a pair and there's just no, or bearish for that matter. There might just not be an entry signal, which, again, if you do have a strategy, if you do have kind of like boxes to tick to enter a trade, you know, sometimes you won't get a entry or a setup that does tick the boxes, but price might still move in the direction you expected. You know, when you do have kind of boxes to tick, when you do have a strategy, it doesn't allow you to take every trade, but again, that's never the aim. Sometimes you will miss some good positions, but the positions you do take, you know, you do have a systematic edge there, and you're looking to try and play that. So yeah, sometimes you're gonna have to bite the bullet in terms of not getting entry, but I will have a look at Euro Aussie for you. But yeah, in terms of dollar CHF, it's an interesting one because I'm looking at USD kind of gaining strength. I'm looking at CHF losing its strength and becoming quite weak. So it could be a big kind of shift in trend here. But if there is, I do want price to go and break structure first. And I'm looking at this kind of high, which gave us that push down. If price can rip through this level, that would be perfect. And then I'll be looking for some high lows after that. We've been pretty bearish here with dollar CHF. If I expand to the higher time frames, you can see we've been falling since the start of the year. So you know, price has been very, very bearish, but it does look like support here is holding. We're having trouble to break through support. So if we are going to shift to the upside, if dollar is going to become strong, there could be some nice buys, maybe back into resistance again in the next few days. So if you are looking to buy dollar CHF, wait for structure to break. If you're looking to sell dollar CHF, then I'll probably keep an eye on this area, which price is just about still trading in. We are looking quite corrected, which is a good sign. So I'll probably wait for a strong close like this below that trend line. That would be a nice indication for a breakout, stops above the high and targets back into the low. That could be a nice position there. If, of course, price just continues to the upside, then you probably are going to be bullish and you probably don't want to be shorting at that stage. But yeah, it's a pair which it might be best to wait for like tomorrow afternoon whilst we've got the USD interest rates and the CHF interest rates out the way, because this pair is going to take a heavy hit or two in the next kind of 24 hours. We've got USD and CHF back to back pretty much, CHF tomorrow morning. So if you do take any trades now, you have to be prepared to work with the interest rates for USD and CHF coming up pretty fast. So unless you're going to have a slightly wider stop loss, I wouldn't want to be taking any intraday positions. If you're looking for some swing trades, you might be able to get away with it. But any positions with like a 20 or 30 pip stop loss, you could be asking for a bit of trouble there. So do watch out for that. But yeah, dollar CHF has been particularly bearish. There's still a nice sell opportunity here if we're going to respect that level. If not, then I would flip the bias to bullish and look to see if we do have some pullbacks for some buys there. So keep an eye on that. We'll go take a look at Euro Aussie next. Array, what is up? Hope you're well. Aussie Yen sell, we will take a look, no problem. Pavinator, what's up, my man? Hope you're well. Happy Wednesday. No, I did not enter short. I'm waiting for price to push to the upper end of the channel. Where it is right now, it's still very, very messy, so I'm not looking to take any shorts there. I'll go through it in a second. Julius, what's up? Hope you're well. Greetings. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate it. If you guys are enjoying the show, please be sure to drop a like, as Julius just mentioned there. It does really help out with the stream, does help promote the content, and I am really grateful for everyone who has liked and subscribed to the channel. And of course, hit the bell if you don't want to miss out on any uploads or streams in the future, because of course you will be notified. But yeah, guys, do really appreciate if you can drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Anywho, let's take a look at Euro Aussie. So you said you're bullish, you're looking for opportunities to buy it, can't really find one. Yeah, I would kind of be on the same page really. Because you're looking to follow this bullish structure. I suppose that's where you get the bullish bias from. And of course, if you expand to the higher time frames, the market has been bullish as a whole as well. So you can use that to build a bullish narrative. looking to buy the market. Now we've had this lovely push to the upside, and this kind of looks like the pullback of it. So we might be seeing something like this happen to run back to highs. Now, how could we take advantage of that? Well, there's a couple of ways you could try and look to buy that. I think the easiest way to try and take advantage of a buy would be waiting for the counter trend line to break, because at that point you kind of got the indication that these low highs are ending, momentum shifting to the buyers. At that point, we're probably likely to see a swing back to resistance. It looks like we're respecting some support here as well, so that would be a nice indication too. Not only is price respecting this level of support, of course prior resistance, but you've got the trend line break too, so that would be a nice entry. Maybe in terms of risk to reward, it might not be the best opportunity, especially if you're waiting for a 4-hour entry. But in terms of probability of the trade playing out, I would say that would look good. I do like this area down here because this is where all the momentum started from. A brief kind of pause there in the market, then we rip to the upside. So this tells me this is where a lot of the buying pressure is. So if price was to come back down there again, I would keep an eye for some buying opportunities. I think that's a smart place for a buy. But judging how corrected we are, how tough we are, how much of a tough time we're having on the way down, it does look like this is just a pullback of this move and we're likely to break higher. So a close above the trend line, I think would be a nice signal to get long. If the support does fail and we do push lower, then 1.755, I would keep an eye for an entry. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but especially the risk reward is not magnificent. But I would say probability of the trade playing out, you would be looking at a pretty nice one there, especially if it's a strong close with some nice momentum. So that's kind of the best I have kind of for Euro Aussie for longs. It is a bit of a corrective pair. Okay, so we'll take a look at Aussie Yen for sell. But yeah, I do agree, Asim, it's very, very choppy. So it's not going to be smooth in terms of your entries. And that's what you're going to get with a lot of the minor pairs. Okay, let's take a look at Aussie Yen. Sell or buy is the question, isn't it? Personally, I probably would do neither. If I had to, it would be a sell because the price, of course, is at the highs there. And there is somewhat of a bearish trend in the market. So selling at resistance is always never really a bad idea. It can always improve the idea of the trade, but selling at resistance in a bearish market, that's kind of like fundamentally always going to be a half decent idea. Of course, there's other factors that come into play, but those two coming into together is always going to be a decent bet for a trade. So naturally, I would be looking to sell this one, but because of the way prices pulled back here, it kind of gives me a bit of a heads up that Aussie Yen probably is going to break to the upside. So I'm not really interested in selling this pair. And at the same time, I'm not quite interested in buying this pair because we're not really at a place where I would like to buy. There were some entries here which I did miss. I was trading Aussie CHF at the time and I didn't want to double down on Aussie. I mean, in hindsight, maybe Aussie Yen was the better trade. Yeah, nice reaction of support here. We came back for a test on Friday last week, and we've had another rally since then. So I do think Aussie Yen is likely to push back to the high. So in terms of trying to buy that, ideally you want to be down at the lows here, not looking to buy here. I wouldn't say that's optimal, even if you are intraday as well. Maybe there might be something along the lines here. This could end up being a nice trade idea, coming back into that kind of area of demand. This is our kind of V-shaped reversal. Strong impulse down, strong impulse back up. Price coming back to retest the zone. Could see a nice swing back into resistance there. Maybe you can take advantage of a swing back to the high, but I'll keep it short and sweet. If you can get it back to that level there, I think booking profits would make a lot of sense. And I like the way price is retracing as well. Pretty aggressive move down. Now it's looking very slow. Probably another push downs around the corner. That could give us a nice rally to the upside. So Yeah, Aussie yen. Like I said, I do think prices like to push back to highs there. I think that's the best bet you'll find for with an opportunity. I would prefer to be at the lows here so I can position myself a lot better, better entry, better stop loss, and really take advantage of that swing and increase my risk to reward. But if you're on an intraday time frame, particularly hourly or maybe even 30 or 15-minute, that might suffice with a nice swing back to the high. Again, this looks like a big kind of inverse head and shoulder to me. So I would expect at least a push back into that resistance. We may not break through, but at least expect price to get there again. Okay, so I'll go through Aussie dollar for Pavinator. Julius, view on silver and gold on the 4 hour. Do you appreciate all you do? No problem. I'm glad you find it useful and enjoying the streams. Okay, so yeah, Aussie dollar I didn't get short because we're still kind of in an area of nonsense, really. I've drawn up this channel here where price has been trading for a while, and you can see this dotted line here in the middle of the channel. This is an area which I don't really want to be finding entries for sells or buys, because this dotted line here represents the middle of the channel. So that's where the most indecision, that's where the most kind of fluctuation will be. And if you're trying to find entries and stop losses there, you're going to struggle compared to waiting for price to be up at the highs or down at the lows of the channel. This is where you're going to catch some nice bounces, some nice swings, whether you're looking to short or buy. So with a bearish bias, I'm looking to see price can push back to the upper end of the channel. Obviously, I can see that resistance here is doing a very, very good job. Resistance once there. Price have had about 6 or 7 tests of that level. So it's holding pretty well. And again, not to say that we can't drop from this area. We potentially can. But it's just not optimal. Like I said, I don't want to be entering in the middle of the channel, especially because I would expect a lot of stop losses to be above the high now. I would expect anyone who has a bearish bias with Aussie dollar is looking to try and pluck some shorts off that level. If you could go run through that level, run through the highs, test the upper end of the channel, I think if I can see some healthy rejection up there, that will be a great sell, because now my stop loss is up there, well away from all the noise. And it gives me a better risk reward back into the low end of the channel where I can book profits. And maybe if I'm lucky, we capitalize on a breakout to the downside. So as I mentioned last time with Aussie dollar, I do have a short bias, but I won't be looking to short it until we do get a break to the up end of the channel. Now, because we've had so many rejections here, it's not looking too good anymore. Yeah, especially because we keep coming back to reject it. I kind of would expect the price to sell off by now. If price was going to give us a drop from here, I would have expected us to have dropped by now. The fact that we keep coming back to test it is kind of just giving us the idea that price might run through the highs first and then drop. Of course, I could be wrong. I'm not here to try and call every single swing perfectly, but if I can find a good trade, I'm going to wait for that trade to form first before I enter. And a good trade would be close to the high. So that's really what I'm waiting for. And yeah, then we can speak about some shorts afterwards. But not really wanting to get involved here. It's way too messy, way too choppy. I'll probably just find a trade and just be sitting in it for a few days, doing nothing really. So yeah, not really interested with Aussie at those prices. In terms of silver and gold, well, silver for me is pretty straightforward in terms of the analysis, in terms of being a buyer. Everything is pointing up. Hey, what's up, Lighton? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Hey, appreciate it. Thank you. I mean, that's not what I was going for, but I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say no to that. Anyway, so yeah, silver's looking very bullish. So in terms of direction, I think it's pretty crystal clear in terms of what we're looking to do. Buy the market. We've had a massive breakout above major resistance, so I wouldn't want to be doing anything apart from buying the market. And we've got a major target, the next major target, which is 40, the next big psychological level. So that's what I'm expecting price to push towards. We've clearly broken out of a nice range here, and price is committed to the upside. So this momentum here is telling me that, okay, we've had this push, we started to slow down, started to consolidate. So buyers are running out of steam, but now buyers are back in control and we're looking bullish again. So I do want to see a bit more upside before I do look for pullbacks, but this is now my area of interest. It was originally down here for the breaking retest of that daily resistance we just looked at. So this level here was the original area which I wanted to buy from, but now that it looks like we're breaking to the upside, we've got a very aggressive wick here as well. I feel like this is probably going to be the new higher low now, so I'm looking for the next one, and so on and so forth, back to 40 up there. So yeah, I like the consolidation. We broke out this area, so if we were to come back to test it, I would expect to see another reaction from the buyers. And I think that's the next best place for an entry. I think looking for the retest of that level just below 35 is probably not likely anymore. So this is the next best opportunity. And I prefer silver to gold because it's just pretty straightforward in terms of the price action. There's no kind of doubt with the trend or momentum of what we're doing. We cleared resistance, seeing higher highs and higher lows. A lot of momentum in the market. You know, looking to buy it, pretty straightforward. Gold is pretty decent as well. I'm not saying gold is ugly. It's just uglier than silver. But if I get a good opportunity in gold, I'm not going to turn it down either. We're so close to the all-time highs. I would expect new highs past that point pretty soon. You can see we've got this bullish structure, which price is now following. So high, low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Now we're looking for the next higher low. I've got a couple of areas which I'm looking at. I'm looking at the area which we're consolidating in right now. Kind of a breaking retest of this level, but if I can see a strong close above all of this noise on the 4-hour chart, so you can see we're kind of consolidating here. If price can break above that, give us a strong close, I think that would be a great entry signal, and naturally targets back to the high on our left, and then yeah, probably a push back to the all-time high. So I think that would be a nice entry for gold. If not, if we are going to break lower, where we do have support just below us here, or demand, we've got this trend line running through as well, and I think that's a reasonable area to expect another higher low to form. So we could be looking at that area for a buy. Targets back to resistance there. And then, of course, you got the infamous 3,500 for your all-time high. So gold bullish, silver bullish. Excuse me. Voice becoming a bit croaky. Excuse me. But yeah, gold and silver, both very bullish. Silver looks like the easy opportunity to take, so my eyes will be a bit more drawn to that one. But if I do see a good close on gold, like I said, I won't turn it down either. Endorsing USD buy technicals. I appreciate it, Lighton. I'm pretty sure my my signal that I gave out yesterday is the reason why dollar CAD is looking bullish. But yeah, dollar CAD had a really nice reaction to the upside. No problem, Julius. Happy to help. Dollar CAD had a really nice reaction yesterday. And yeah, it's looking interesting now, because now that we've got that first kind of indication that, okay, buyers are stepping into the market, because if you're trying to get into a buy here, of course, in hindsight, it did play out. But it's always going to be very aggressive to do, because you're going against all of this momentum. Your price has been falling for quite a while now. And essentially, you're trying to catch a falling knife, really. Because especially if you're going refined risk, if you're going to have like a stop loss like as big as this, okay, you're giving yourself a lot of room. But if you're going to have a stop loss like underneath lows, you're asking for trouble. You know, how many people will be trying to buy dollar CAD as it's been trading down and just getting wicked out, wicked out. So waiting for the first kind of indication to come into the market that buyers are stepping in like this is now kind of showed to me that, okay, support is now likely holding, and this would be a smart place for a buy. Again, I'm not going to be immune to getting wicked out. Not to say that I won't take a loss. I could do, but I've got a lot more faith in that bullish bias now, and a lot more confidence to be looking for some entries. So Now I'm looking to see if price can return to revisit that level for a buy, and then I can look to hopefully take a double bottom there or some type of higher low off the back of that. And again, I'm not necessarily looking for a crazy big move here for dollar CAD. I'm just looking for a push back into these highs because the market is still bearish. Let's not forget that fact, and we very much could still put another lower high in and still, drop lower. I think that still might be the likely move really for dollar CAD there. So got to be careful and respect that. Therefore, just looking at a push into some of these areas for some buys. But dollar CAD is something I'm looking at in a lot of detail right now. So pay on the watch list for myself. Definitely keep an eye on the USD, especially what happens later this afternoon, because if I see this happen for the dollar, well, that puts me bullish on the dollar as well. So now I can probably looking at some shorts for pound, shorts for euro, shorts for Aussie, shorts for the New Zealand dollar, maybe some longs for dollar CHF as well, and of course longs for dollar CAD. So I need that break of structure to really confirm that bullish bias to myself with the DXY. We'll see what happens with the Fed later today. Maybe we get that from the Fed. If we just kind of fall over, flat on our face, then yeah, things are looking bearish again. We run to lows and probably take them out as well. And then I'll probably back away with that bullish bias because at that point, we've got another lower high in the market, another lower low. So structure still pointing down. Definitely not looking to buy the market at that stage. So I've got to be very, very careful with that. But yeah, we've got a lot of interesting news coming up pretty soon. We've got pound, we've got Swiss, we've got USD interest rates coming in the next kind of 24 hours-ish. So definitely want to stay on top of that. I mean, I am trading pound NZD, so I am asking for a little bit of trouble with pound NZD longs. I'm kind of hoping there's a bit of a reaction in my favor first. So I can probably remove risk and get to break even before the interest rates for pound tomorrow. Is it tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning? I think it might be morning, isn't it? Pound is normally in the morning. So, I don't know. I might not have enough time. So, Swiss. Oh no, it's at 12. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, pound NZD is the only position I have at the moment. I'll go through my watch list because I do have some pairs I'm looking at. But again, take it with a pinch of salt because we've got a lot of news coming up, so things can change and you want to be flexible as a trader. Yes, you want to have a bias of what you're looking to do, but if something changes, you want to change with it. The worst thing to be as a trader is to think, okay, this has to go up, so let me just keep looking for opportunities to buy. You might miss out on a huge sell. So being flexible is very important. But I do have some pairs which I've been looking at since the start of last week, so I'll run through those as well. Lighton, Aussie CHF, no problem, my man. We'll take a look. Thomas, I was supposed to look at Dolly ages ago. Someone requested it, but I completely forgot. Yep, I will take a look at USD JPY. But yeah, in terms of Aussie CHF, bullish on this pair. I was buying it last week or the week before? Yeah, I think it's the week before, but I was trailed out, last week. So yeah, I'm looking to see if I can get back into a buy for this one. The main problem with this is that we do have a lot of bearish structure here. Price has been trending down for a while and just seen new lows aggressively. It doesn't change my bias because of where we're coming from. The reason why I am bullish is because we're coming from all-time lows. So I'm looking to continue to buy that. If price does go and sweep the lows again, then yeah, I probably would just be bearish until we get back to the lows here, and I might look for some sells in that meantime. But this to me still looks like a corrective pullback due to how corrective it is and due to the fact that we had this aggressive sell, but price shot straight back afterwards. So I do think Aussie CHF is getting ready for a push higher. In terms of an entry, that's where the problems lie. I like support here. So if I could see price rally back into highs or even create a new high and then pull back into this level, that would be my preferred opportunity. Whether we see that happen, who knows? But that would be my preferred opportunity for a trade. I would also keep an eye on this resistance level here as well. We might not see a pullback enough to get to this level, but we might see a pullback enough to get there. So I'll definitely keep an eye on that. But yeah, Aussie CHF, I'm looking for buy. I just don't have a good entry just yet. And I probably wouldn't buy just yet either. Like I said, we're still kind of bearish. So a push to the highs here kind of confirms to us, okay, buys are stepping in. Maybe this sell is just a bit anticlimactic. Maybe this turns into a big V-shaped pattern, impulse down, fairly impulsive on the way back up. Then yeah, a correction and a continuation would be the plan. But if price kind of just flattens here and just consolidates and maybe start to roll back over, we're looking at a pretty bearish Aussie CHF, and I wouldn't be looking to buy at that point. But for now, I still just about have a bullish bias, but I need this to kind of confirm things, and then pullbacks either to one of these areas would look good. And yeah, targets back to that high and push back to this zone here as well. This is where we had a massive sell earlier in the year. We haven't come back to revisit that, so I do think prices like to come back and retest that. I think we'll be drawn towards that area, which would make it good for a target, but a long way to go. In terms of dollar yen, so another yen pair, I think naturally I still do kind of have a bearish bias for this one, but we have been very, very flat. We've been trading within this range here, and as I've said, not really been interested in trading dollar yen inside this. It's been way too noisy. I think in terms of kind of clarity, in terms of just simple, effective opportunities, just waiting for support or resistance to clear will give you some really nice opportunities. It might not give you the best risk reward, it might not give you the best entry, but just in terms of clarity, it will do wonders, because we got support here, which clearly price is respecting very well. If price can run through that, and if you can find a retest, a short from this level to that level is quite a realistic one, especially if we have a lot of momentum on the breakout. And the fact that we've had a bearish trend for a while, if price does break through the floor there, we're likely to push back into those lows anyway. So in terms of having clarity, in terms of having a high probability trade, just waiting for support to break there and a pullback would be a nice opportunity. On the other side of the coin, I think the buys will look good as well, because if price does break to the upside, I think that would also give us a nice buy. Yes, it's a bit counter trend. As we just established, the trend is still down, but if we do clear resistance there, that becomes our next significant level. I would expect price to run back to those highs as well. We may double top it and come back down and see the continuation of the overall bearish trend, but a push to that resistance is something we can likely bet on. But inside of this range, it's just going to be a lot of fluctuation. I can see we're respecting resistance here. We might see a push down off the back of that. Yeah, not really exciting me, not really doing it for me. So I would still wait for 145.800 to clear, or 142.500 to clear, and then look for opportunities off the back of that. I think we can find some nice dollar yen opportunities there. Tarkshon, Trump just fought. DAX and NAS got volatile all of a sudden. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. Let me have a look. Okay, that's US 30. NAS 100. Yeah, a bit of a spike there. S&P. Yeah, a bit of a spike. So yeah, it does look like someone's done something. Someone's let one off. And the DAX as well. Yeah. Again, it's difficult. It's difficult because stuff like that, when things become volatile all of a sudden, you can't really do much to prepare for that, because that can literally happen at any time, really. The only thing you can do as a trader, which you should do always, is just manage risk, really. As long as you're not betting the whole farm in a particular position, there's not a lot you can do with that. It's kind of just a part of trading, especially when Trump's in charge as well. Didn't really see so much of this when Biden was in charge, did we? But yeah, things can get quite volatile all of a sudden. Again, lower time frames are going to be a bit more at risk to this. It has to be a much bigger move to affect the higher time frames. But certainly, the markets can just do anything they want, really. So be careful of that. But yeah, for the most part, the indices have been looking pretty bearish. The DAX has been on a downward slope since the 5th of June, more or less. US 30 has been pushing down, but starting to flatten out. S&P relatively flat, and the NAS relatively flat as well. I think it still kind of fits the picture of us kind of just tiring, really. We did have a bit of a sell-off last week, but it didn't really amount to much. But then again, not really looking bullish since then either. Market's kind of flat. No problem, Lighton. Happy to help. Yusuf, good morning, my man. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. They're liking every comment that you make. Well, the Fed's got a lot of time in their hands. Yeah, I mean, with the indices, again, the overall bias is still very much fixed in terms of looking for a push back to the highs. Excuse me. But we are looking very tired. So I would be very patient with buys. Voice is getting very croaky. So I would be very patient with buys, but again, I think maybe a lot of markets are waiting for this afternoon. So as I think time continues, we'll probably see more kind of stale price action, USD pairs, indices, and then hopefully we'll kind of pick up steam a little bit from this evening / tomorrow onwards. But now it's still very bullish on, just I'm not really seeing any good buying opportunities here, really. I think naturally if you do push back into the low, that would be a nice place for a bounce. But yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't be looking for any fresh highs. Waiting on confirmation for along the DAX 23,300. Okay. Yusuf, Fulton Gold has been ranging since yesterday. Yeah, gold has been a bit ranging, but I actually kind of like the fact that it's been ranging, because I would imagine a lot of people kind of getting chopped up back and forth inside that range. I'm kind of just waiting for the breakout of that to really confirm momentum's back, and hopefully I kind of miss out on all that nonsense of the range. But I'll go take a look in a second. But in terms of the DAX, you said you're looking for some buys. Let me drop to the 5 minutes. Looking for some buys at 23,300. That would be around, okay, the low. So yeah, I mean, that would be that would be a nice place for a buy. I would definitely second that. If the DAX still, excuse me, I do apologize for the croaking. Yeah, the DAX still roughly trading that daily support. So I think as long as as long as price is in that support area, I think that's a very smart place for a buy, especially if you're looking for a reaction. Of course, if you're looking for a swing back to the high there, that could be a possibility, but I think you want to take it in baby steps here. DAX, of course, is proving this level to be a solid level of resistance or support, actually. A lot of reaction there previously, again, not too long ago, again, yesterday. And if we were to get there again, I think naturally you'll probably see another bounce as well. So definitely a smart place for a buy. It would be nice if price could actually spike through the lows as well. That could be a nice idea for a trade idea, because that could flush early buys out and perhaps give us that nice reaction shortly afterwards. And I would say if you're looking for a push back into like these areas, I think that's a healthy target for a 5 minute trade. You know, back into 23,400, 23,500 even, that kind of range there. I think that would be a smart place for a target. We could go a lot further, but yeah, you're asking for a little bit of trouble if you're looking for a bit more, because we could be forming those lower highs to come back down again. But if you're locking in gains, trading stops, it won't be the worst idea in the world. But yeah, definitely a nice area for a buy. It agrees with the higher time frames as well. Okay, yeah, 100, 200 pips. Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, Yusuf, gold has been consolidating yesterday. I mean, the thoughts for gold are still very straightforward in terms of still looking to buy the market, but we have been very, very flat. I know you're looking at the 15-minute chart, and it's looking very noisy on the 15. I've actually just get rid of everything. So yeah, from a 50-minute perspective, I'll be looking to try and buy this as well. To be honest, I quite like how it's moving. It's choppy. It's not looking clear, but the fact that we keep having these aggressive kind of wicks to the downside does kind of tell me that price is trying to sell off, but the buyers are doing a very good job at stopping that. So support here looks to be holding pretty well. We had a nice push down here as well during the Asian session. That kind of didn't do too much damage as well. We rallied straight back up again. We're back at support. So it looks to me that support is holding. So a nice entry or a nice idea for a trade would be to see if, okay, can we go and break some highs now? Can we get rid of this mess? We kind of did over there, but didn't really amount to much. Let's see if we can do it for real. Go break through some highs. And then some pullbacks after would look really good for a buy. Whether it's the retest of the high here or a retest of this kind of area. It depends how big the breakout is. Depends how big the pullback is. But the fact that we are kind of really taking our time here, I think is a positive sign for gold. And it kind of shows us that the buyers are really doing a good job at respecting price here. So if we can see price go break to the upside, clear out some structure, then some pullbacks will look really good. And yeah, swing back to the high, keep it relatively simple, back to 34.50. I would second that. So yeah, gold bullish bias. Yes, it is very flat and choppy and consolidating. We can use that to our advantage. But I would wait for that first kind of indication, because of course, if we don't, price could continue to fluctuate, or even worse, it could eventually break lower. Maybe news this afternoon could trigger that. But if we do break to the upside, it tells that support is holding, momentum's back with the buys. We've cleared the highs out here. Can we see a higher low form? That would be our entry, and then boom, hopefully a push back to highs. So I'm liking gold, especially on the 15. I'm not trading on the 15. I'll be looking for a strong close in the 4-hour chart, which makes things a little bit easier, because all I'm really waiting for is just a strong candle closure on the 4-hour chart, breaking above all the noise, and that would be an entry for me, because I would have my stops below the lower here. Of course, in the 15-minute chart, you can really refine the risk and maximize the risk reward there. But I'm happy with the 4-hour chart, so I'll be looking for an entry similar to this, stops below the low, and see if we can swing it back to 3,500, and hopefully beyond that as well. But yeah, I do like the gold buys, and I think the consolidation can actually be seen as a good thing. Follow the trend. BTC. I haven't actually looked at Bitcoin. Hope it can go to 100k for me to buy. Okay. I mean, that's more or less where I'm looking for a bounce. I said 101k, which is just, of course, above 100, but pretty much the same region. Yeah, this area here, 101. So yeah, I think that's a smart place for a buy. The reason why that is because it's been such a strong level of support, held price there very well. Nice rally to the upside. You can see held price there again not too long ago. Really nice reaction to the upside. And I would expect to see another bounce there as well. Now, would it continue back to 112 and see new all-time highs from then? Possibly. I wouldn't be so confident on that happening. The way I'm kind of viewing Bitcoin right now is a bit of a range, really. So the fact that we're coming to the low end of the range, if we can get a push to like the 50%, so if I get the fib out, mark on 50, which is roughly there, if I can get push kind of into the middle of this range, I think that's the first area I would look to secure some gains. And then maybe I might hold on for a push back to highs. Because you never know with Bitcoin. Maybe we do get a breakout. Maybe price does fly to the moon. But I think a push to kind of the 50% is a sensible target, reasonable target to have. And then we can go from there. But the fact that we had this strong rally and that just failed at the highs, it made it the lower high. This was a lot of momentum, but it didn't quite get to the highs there. We also had a strong push not too long ago. That's coming back down as well, falling flat on its face. So We are seeing indication of strong momentum from the buyers coming into play, but despite that, not having enough energy to get back to the highs. So, we'll probably get to support again and might do something similar. Another nice reaction, form another lower high and push back down. So something like this was to happen, and we kind of continue with these lower highs, 1, 2, 3. At least should be able to secure some profit in the meantime. And if price does come back down against me, I'll probably still walk away with at least a small win. And if price does decide to rally, well, I can take advantage of that too. So yeah, BTC, I do agree. That kind of zone there looks good. 101k roughly. Of course, waiting for some solid rejection and hopefully some buys there as well. Also, guys, I did want to mention I do have a project coming out very, very soon, and I will be releasing more kind of content and updates regarding that as well. But it involves AI, using AI to help with your trading, developing automated trading bots, looking at strategies in terms of using AI to develop a strategy. Using AI to develop indicators as well. If you have an idea of how you want to trade, you've got an idea of an indicator, an idea of a strategy you want to develop, of course, naturally, you're going to have to try and code that to try and develop the strategy or pay someone to code it. Utilizing AI kind of allows you to use pretty simple language and develop your own tools. So that project will be coming out pretty soon. I'm very excited to show that to you guys, because the way the world is going, AI is is developing very, very fast. It's improving a lot, and it will probably really change the trading game as a whole. So it's definitely something to look into, and something that can at least help aid your trading, whether fundamentally or technically, or even just looking at sentiment analysis as well. I can drop the link to the website, not live yet, but you guys can check it out and see what is coming pretty soon. I'll drop it in the chat, so feel free to check it out. I did drop the link to the Telegram yesterday, which has some automated signals powered by AI as well. So if you want to follow along, see what the signals are about as well, I'll drop that link there in the chat as well. But feel free to check it out if you are interested. But yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on, because I have ideas. I'm pretty sure you guys have ideas of how you want to develop your trading, and AI can definitely bridge that gap unless you know how to code. But even then, it does take time to develop. But yeah, in terms of my watch list, I haven't actually gone through that yet. I was supposed to go through that ages ago. So at the moment, I'm currently long on pound NZD, but I'm looking at opportunities a lot on USD pairs, which I'm kind of waiting to see how the news comes out this afternoon before I kind of really put anything to stone, because I am gearing up for some kind of longs on the USD pairs, but I do want to see if we can get some breaker structures and some bigger moves first before I do look for pullbacks. So in the case of pound USD, I'm not really interested in long in the pair. I did say intraday there might be some nice longs there, but I think in terms of the bigger move, especially with looking at how stretched the market is, the fact that we take out major highs there, I do think price can have a much bigger pullback and push down. So I'm more interested with the selling opportunities here with pound USD. So if we can break support, maybe we can do that off the back of the news this afternoon. And then yeah, some shorts around 1.342 would be an opportunity I would favor. So pound USD shorts, something I'm looking at. Dollar CAD longs, of course, we spoke about this one before, but this is on the watch list for myself as well. Made that first nice indication that momentum's coming to the market. Now I'm looking to see if we can reverse off the back of that. We're coming into a very big zone on the daily chart as well. So as you can see how we rally to the upside from this area. Very, very aggressive price action. Now price is finally back in that level, and we're seeing similar aggressive price action come back into the market. So yeah, if I can see a push back into the lows, that's kind of what I'm looking for a buy, and hopefully can take it back into some of those areas. 1.37, 1.38. I'm also looking at Aussie dollar shorts. These are kind of the three main USD pairs I'm looking at. So Aussie dollar shorts, but I do want price to rally back to the upper end of the channel before I do look to try and short the market. You can see how fatigued we're looking, how corrective we're looking on the way up. This is a strong sign of a market that is very kind of tired and likely to break lower. You don't see this in terms of a healthy trend. Healthy trends will have kind of long impulsive phases, relatively short corrective phases, not really showing much bearish momentum, then repeat. That's a sign of a healthy trending market. This is a very strong sign of a weekly or a very tired market. Frequent pullbacks, deep pullbacks, not seeing much momentum to the upside. I'm expecting a huge sell-off, but I do want price to rally to the up end of the channel first before I get short. Will we get there? I don't know, but that's kind of where it would be optimal for me to enter. I can understand that price is still respecting resistance here pretty well, but it's very, very noisy. We're trading in the middle of the channel. I would have guessed there'll be a lot of stop losses above here. So if you can go run through them, test the up end of the channel, and then sell, I think that would be a very nice confidence for the trade. So that's kind of where I'm at with the USD pairs, yen pairs, euro yen shorts. I'm keeping a very close eye on. I'm looking for some momentum now. Price trading at some major weekly, daily, monthly highs really. I'm basically looking for a major double top here to form and a push right back down into these lows. So I'm looking for a very, very big move here. Again, not necessarily looking to try and take advantage of that in one go, but I do think that's the likely destination of where euro yen's going to end up. But I do want to see a strong push down because we've just about taken out the highs. So if this is a slight fake out potentially, I need to see momentum from the bears coming back in, a push down. Then I'll look for some pullbacks and then I'll look for some shorts, maybe on the retest of the high. But I'm looking for selling opportunities in this area. Same thing for Swiss yen as well, which is in a similar situation. Scoot to the daily chart. This one already seen some momentum, but you can see a major high price is trading at. Again, similar to euro yen, we just about broke above all of that. Now it looks like price might be coming back down. So that's my indication that says, okay, that run to the upside, maybe a bit of a fake out, trapping some buyers on the wrong side, maybe taking out some early sellers. Now it looks like momentum stepping up. Hopefully you can see that kind of pick up a lot more. I'll look for a pullback, try and catch that first lower high, maybe even on the retest of the level, and then take some shorts off the back of that. But again, similar to euro yen, I'm expecting a really big move down, so I'll be looking for opportunities on the way down. It's not a situation where I want to get an entry and just hold all the way to the lows, although I would want to do that, but I'll be looking for additional entries. I'll be securing gains along the way as well. But Swiss yen shorts, euro yen shorts look good. We went for the USD pairs. Of course, gold and silver, they're very much on the watch list as well. Silver looking extremely bullish, nice break to the upside. I do want to see a bit more upside before I do look for a pullback, but I like the zone here. Nice consolidation, sharp break to the upside there as well. Now I'm looking for the retest of that zone for more upside. You can see if I zoom out, as a whole, the trend is very bullish. We've broken out major resistance, naturally expecting that to continue. So in my book, silver's looking very good. Gold, pretty much the same idea, not as crystal clear as silver, but there's a trend here. I'm looking to see if we can break the consolidation to the upside. If not, then I'm looking to see if we can come back and retest this kind of area of demand alongside the trend line. Look for the next high low for continuation back into the highs. So I'll be looking at that as well. For gold too, similar setup to silver, both pretty much on the same, doing the same thing, just silver's a bit more bullish, but I like them both. But I'll keep an eye. Again, I'm not necessarily looking to trade them both, but I'm keeping an eye on to see which one will set up better. In terms of the crosses, so pound end's the currently in that. I'm not really looking to get into any other crosses really. CAD pairs, I'm still going to keep an eye on Aussie CAD. I think there's some upside to be had with Aussie CAD. I did say I was looking to try and buy off the low here, but the entry wasn't really giving me a good entry at the start of the week. So I'm looking to see if we can drive back into the lows again, possibly give a bit of a double bottom there for a buy. that could set up well for me. So I'm keeping a close eye on Aussie CAD. I'm still looking at this as a big pullback for the market. So now I'm looking for us to continue. And Aussie CHF, I still like the look of that one as well. This one's got a lot of work to do before I do find some buys. I still want to see a drive back to the highs first and then find some pullbacks. If we can get that would be brilliant. And I'll look for the retest of resistance or even the retest of this low, which would be my preferred area. Kind of like a big inverse head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder, and hopefully a nice swing back into resistance. So that's really where I'm at. Again, things could change based on news. Still got power news, still got USD and Swiss news, and I'm looking at pairs that include all of those currencies. So that's why I said earlier, things can change quickly. But for now, that's kind of really where I'm at. Dollar yen, okay, we'll take a look. Yusuf. Okay, review a trade on pound yen. Okay, I'll go through that one. First, let me just go take a look at dollar yen. So yeah, dollar yen, more of a corrective market, but again, the analysis hasn't changed for a while. It's been the same since the end of May, really. Looking for resistance or support to break. If we break to the high, looking for a swing back into 148. If we break the low, looking for a swing back into 140. Standard break and retest opportunities, nothing crazy. You can look just to enter on the breakout. I always look for the retest. That's always what I'll be looking for. Likewise to the downside as well. Not keen in trading inside the middle. That's where all the noise is. I understand that price at the moment is rejecting resistance pretty well. Perhaps we do get another sell back to the low end of the channel here. So that could be a nice short to take, but because it's within the range, I'm not really interested. I would expect more momentum to lie outside the range. So that's where the opportunities I want to get involved in. Because if you were to see a strong break at the low, now I expect the floodgates to open up. Not only do I expect to see a swing back into the low here, but I would expect us to probably go further as well. Because all this range, price has been building up, building up, building up. I expect that to kind of release and see a big explosion. I don't think explosion is the right word, but you get my point. And same thing to the upside. I do expect to see a push back into the highs there. But yeah, resistance is holding. Maybe some shorts off that, but yeah, I like the lows down there. So that's really what I'm waiting for. In terms of the GJ trade, Yusuf, let's have a look. See, so a long entry 196.216. Let me drop to the 15 because I know that's the time frame you look to trade on. 196.216. So that's around there. That the 4 hour time frame has broken resistance and the 50-minute time frame had a wicks at support with the corrected pullbacks. Please, did I do anything wrong? Okay, I understand. So you've looked at the breakout here on the 4 hour chart and said, okay, price is breaking resistance, and now it's coming back and firing some wicks to the downside. We're likely to see a push up. Inherently, no. I would say in terms of what you're looking for, it makes sense. You know, you got powerful resistance. Price did close above. And then we did push back into support and did fire wicks to the downside, which shows that price is struggling to break below. So I would say inherently no, there's nothing wrong with that. You're looking for a simple break and retest, trying to get involved in the 15. I mean, if you're really trying to be picky, I mean, again, I would say no, but if you're really trying to be picky, you can see the market is very consistent with these lower highs here. So although we're seeing a lot of rejection and a lot of wicks to the downside, because the market is still continuing with the lower highs here, it's effectively on the 50-minute chart broken back below the level and actually retested resistance and formed another lower high to push down. So effectively, from a 4 hour standpoint, it looks like the market's retesting support, but from a 50-minute standpoint, it's doing the opposite. It's actually retesting as resistance. So there's a slight discrepancy between the time frames. One is holding support, one's kind of holding the resistance. So there's a bit of a contradiction there. What would have been slightly better, or would have been better, is if all of this was just above the level. So instead of kind of giving you wicks below, let's say if the wicks were into the level, so price was stabbing the level like this on the 15, that would coincide with the 4-hour chart, because not only is the 4-hour above support, but 15 is above support as well. And of course, 15 is actually your most important time frame. Of course, the 4 hours is the bigger time frame, it's going to hold more weight. But because 15 is your entry time frame, you always want your entry time frame to be high probability, because that's going to justify the initial reaction of the trade. Because the initial pop you get to the upside is based on what the 15 minutes doing. If price was to continue, that's more so to do with the higher time frames. So you want that 15 to really be agreeing with whatever you're looking to do. Essentially, it's kind of like buying into resistance here, because price did break below, broke above, broke below, broke above slightly, broke back below, retested the resistance, and from there we got the sell. So I would say the only thing I'll look at is just kind of the timing of things. Yes, the 4-hour chart is the more meaningful time frame and it's above support, but if you're going to enter on the 15, you want the 15 to be backing that up as well. In this case, I wouldn't say it was quite doing that. So that would be my kind of critique. But again, there will be times where you do enter below the level and it does work out. In this case, it just didn't. But if you wanted any kind of advice for the trade, I would say that would be it. And also, I would also say wait for bigger breakouts as well. This is a nice close above, but you want price to kind of rip a little bit further, because breakouts like this are quite prone to fake outs, because they're only just about close above the level, which will do enough to take any stop losses here and then fund that move to the downside. So I would wait for bigger breakouts as well. There you can be a bit more sure that it's the real deal and not a fake out. So I would say that's an extra bonus to look at. What's the number one setup for this week? Good question. Probably the trade I'm in, pound NZD. That's looking the best right now. Hence why I'm trading it. But I'll probably say outside of that, probably gold. I'll say gold is a very nice setup as well. Higher time frames agree with it. I think there's a lot of buys here to be. I think fundamentally as well, there's extra reasons why I would expect gold to be bullish right now too. So for that matter, I would expect to see gold go and smash 3,500. So I'll say gold buys around 33.40, or even if we see a strong close outside of this consolidation, that would also be a nice entry signal as well. So apart from the trade I'm in, I would say gold's the next one to watch. It's tricky because we do have news coming up, so it could be a situation where we have news this evening and price just kind of just rallies without us. I wouldn't really advise looking to get into gold now just because of the news later, because I wouldn't expect to see much behavior with gold until the news in the afternoon anyway. And even then, even if we do see some movement, you got the news coming up, that could all be erased very, very quickly as well. So it's probably something to watch out once the dust has settled, and then maybe later today, or probably better, London, New York tomorrow, there might be some nice opportunities there. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. But yeah, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. If you have found it useful, please be sure to smash the like button. It does really help out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you have enjoyed today's stream, please be sure to drop a like. It does really help out the channel, helps promote the content. And of course, subscribe to the channel as well so you can become part of the family. And of course, it does help the channel grow as well. So I do really appreciate that. Like I said, hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Check out the Discord channel to Elevating Traders. That is located in the description below. Also at the top of the chat, you can join the community, chat with other traders, chat with myself, discuss different setups there as well. So if you are interested, go check it out. It's completely free to join and linked in the description. But we'll be live again tomorrow, live every weekday. So look forward to see you guys then, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, make sure you pop in and come say hi. But I really appreciate you guys coming onto the stream. I appreciate all the kind messages, and take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.